I wish. So today's verse is Shrimad Bhagavatam, second canto, ninth chapter, and verse number 39. The name of the chapter is uh, Answers by Citing the Lord's Vision. So if you're okay, Maharaj, I can start sharing the screen. Oops, sorry, I forgot to come out from the YouTube. Let me just give me a second. I come out of the YouTube and open the. I've got a database open anyway, so it won't take long. Yeah.
Okay. So continue with this ninth chapter, which is saturated with transcendental knowledge in the highest form of understanding. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Antahitendriyartayam haraye vihitanjalihi sarvabhuta mayo vishvam shasharjedam sapurvavat. On the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for the senses of the devotees, Brahma, with folded hands, began to recreate the universe full with living entities as it was previously. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is the object fulfilling the senses of all the living entities. Illusioned by the glaring reflection of the external energy, the living entities worship the senses instead of engaging properly and fulfilling the desires of the Supreme. In the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, there is the following verse. Aksno phalam tadrishya darshanam hi tano phalam twadrishya gatra sangaham shivam phalam tadrishya kirtanam hi sudur lavya bhagavata hi loke. O devotees of the Lord, the purpose of the visual sense is fulfilled simply by seeing you, and the touch of your body is the fulfillment of the bodily touch. The tongue is meant for glorifying your qualities because in this world, a pure devotee of the Lord is very difficult to find. Originally, the senses of the living entities were awarded for this purpose, namely, to engage them in the transcendental loving service of the Lord or that of his devotees. But the conditioned souls, illusioned by the material energy, became captivated by sense enjoyment. Therefore, the whole process of God consciousness is meant to rectify the conditional activities of the senses and to re-engage them in the direct service of the Lord. It's a very important statement here. Re-engage them in the senses. That means the senses were once engaged in the service of the Lord. Now they are engaged in the senses for the service of the external energy. Lord Brahma thus engaged his senses in the Lord by recreating the conditional living entities to act in the recreated universe. The material universe is thus created and annihilated by the will of the Lord. It is created to give the conditioned soul a chance to act to return home back to Godhead. And servants like Brahmaji, Nardaji, Vyasaji, and their company become busy with the same purpose of the Lord, to reclaim the conditioned souls from the field of sense gratification and return them to the normal stage of engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. Instead of doing so, that is, converting the action of the senses, the impersonalists began to make the conditioned souls senseless, and the Lord also senseless. This is improper treatment for the conditioned souls. The diseased condition of the senses may be treated by curing the defect, but not uprooting the senses altogether. When there is some disease in the eyes may be cured to see properly. Plucking out the eyes is no treatment. Similarly, the whole material of disease is based on the process of sense gratification, and liberation from the disease condition is re-engagement of the senses to see the beauty of the Lord, hear his glories, and act on his account. Thus Brahmaji created the universal activities again. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyanajala Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvase Sasunyavahari Vastyatya Desatarine Vanshakalpa Tarubhischa Vipa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So now Brahma, after hearing from the Lord and understanding his position and the relationship to carrying out the orders of the Lord, which is to recreate the universe as it was in the previous manifestation, he begins his service. What is he doing? He's giving the conditioned living entities who are in a dormant stage due to the unmanifest stage of the material energy. That means they were staying in the body of Mahavishnu until the next manifestation of creation came. And then Brahmaji comes in and performs his service. And that, as it says, to bring about the universes and fill the universes with the living entities who left off in their previous manifestation to continue with their sojourn in the material world, with the ultimate goal is to wrap up this merry-go-round of taking birth and dying and to go back to the spiritual world. So the senses, we have 11 senses, including the mind, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge-acquiring senses. All those senses are meant to be used for the benefit of the living entity who is locked within the body. And that means to direct those senses, as it says here, to hear the glories of the Lord, to serve the Lord in different ways, and to take part in the process of glorification of the Lord. So this is the purpose of these senses. Therefore, sometimes the senses are called servants, and sometimes they're called serpents. A servant is meant to assist the master by giving the master what the master needs to fulfill his needs and desires. But then the same master or same servant, if he turns against the master and makes plans to destroy the master, then he's compared to a serpent whose job is not to assist, but to destroy. And so therefore, sometimes the senses are called serpents, for that which bites and causes poison, and by which the living entity dies. Of course, the living entity cannot die, but the living entity can remain in a dormant stage of existence without experiencing its own true nature. And the senses are meant to be used to bring about that experience of one's own true nature through the process of serving the Lord, glorifying the Lord, chanting the Lord's name, and develop an attraction for the Lord. As the senses are what we say, systematically engaged in the service of the Lord, according to the different processes, because the Lord is all attractive, then those senses start to become attracted to the Lord, which directs the mind in the same way. And then when the mind becomes attracted, it connects with the heart, and then the heart is the seat of the soul, awakens to their natural attraction for the Supreme Lord. And then as that attraction builds, it goes through different phases of development. And finally, when it reaches perfection, it reaches its perfection in loving devotional service, where every moment is about loving the Lord in different ways by expressing that love through various types of services. Of course, when one becomes proficient in the process of service, one will desire to serve the Lord in a specific way, which will um, facilitate that loving desire to awaken even more and more. Mhm. So this is the process. So here, the senses are meant to be used in the service of the Lord. And as it says, you go down the page a little bit, it says they're being regenerated again. So go down the page a little. Satyabhama, are you there? Satyabhama, can anybody hear me?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, we can hear you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Guru.
Yeah. So I'm requesting you to go down the page.
Oh, yeah, there she is.
So yeah, so the senses were awarded for this purpose, to bring the soul back to its connection with the Supreme Soul, Krishna, in devotional service. So the word re-engage, not engage, but re-engage, means to bring back something that was already there. And that means originally we were serving the Lord fully in the spiritual world. Now we've come back to the material world, or come down to the material world. And so in order to bring back our original activities, the senses have to be re-engaged in the service of the Lord, on the glorification of the Lord. And the essence of that is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and hearing about the qualities, the names, the transcendental forms, and the pastimes of the Lord in his different incarnations, ultimately manifesting and culminating as it's systematically given in Srimad Bhagavatam to Krishna in Sri Vrindavan Dham, which is the sunam bonum of Krishna's activities. So we are in a disease condition. This material world is like a hospital, and the living entity has a disease of ignorance, which manifests in forgetfulness. Forgetfulness of what? Who we are, what is the purpose of our existence, and how to achieve happiness in life. So we are in a forgetful condition, and therefore taking guidance from Krishna through the spiritual master, who represents Krishna and the previous spiritual masters, we can gradually overcome this amnesia. Where amnesia is like you forget everything. Just like sometimes people undergo some type of amnesia. They can't remember who they are or what they're supposed to do. There's one more contemporary story. This goes back about 30 years. When one man went, he wanted to go to some place that he was never there before. So he traveled out, and he wound up into another city in America, this was. And he had forgotten to take his personal identity with him. So while he was there, he was walking around, and then one day he fell and he hit his head on the ground. He was brought back to consciousness by the people there. Nobody knew who he was because obviously he was from another place. And because he had no identity on him, nobody knew who actually his previous identity was. So now there he is in a different place with no understanding of himself because the bump on the head made him forget everything of his past. And so he decided to begin life again at that point. And he started to again find a wife, build a family, and live a life. Of course, everyone in his previous was wondering what happened to him because nobody knew where he was because he never told anyone. So he went on for some time, many years. I think it was about 7 years. It was living this another life that he had created after forgetting his previous life. And then one day, again, he fell, and again he hit his head. And this time, when he woke up, he remembered who he was in before he became who he was now. And so now he was in two identities and two lifestyles with two different families and two different occupations. Everything was there. So this is called amnesia. Amnesia makes you forget everything. So we have what is called spiritual amnesia. We forgot Krishna. We forgot about our home in the spiritual world. We forgot about what is our activities in relationship to Krishna. And therefore, we create this false sense of identity by identifying with the body we have, by identifying with the country we're born in, with the family that we're born in, and with the activities we perform. And we build a life based on that. But it's all an illusion because none of it has to do with us. It's something we created due to our forgetfulness of our actual identity and our real home, which is in the spiritual world. So this is called spiritual amnesia. But devotional service is the way to reawaken Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra, Bole, Kota Nidra, Jayo Maya, Pisa Chita, Kole, coming back to who we actually are in our real identity, separate from all of these ephemeral and illusionary identities that we've had while we have sojourned in this material world for many, many lives. So when we get this opportunity to come back to our real identity and the happiness that automatically comes with that identity, that is the association of Krishna, then we are back in our the reality of our existence. So one should remember that where you are now is not where you want to be. It's not where you're supposed to be. You want to, again, associate with Krishna in loving devotional service, which is full of variety. Sometimes people think, what is the variety? There's so much variety in the material world, we can choose how to express ourselves. But in the spiritual world, which is a source of the material world, there is the unlimited variety. And so there is, as we see variety in this world, it's a reflection of the spiritual world, where there's real variety, which gives satisfaction and happiness, and is unlimited. Even the variety in this world, although there is many, is limited. And sometimes Of course, we accept certain types of variety as the kind of variety that we want to experience. But it's temporary and it's also limited. So, therefore, the living entity in the material world is simply struggling to find. Prabhupada said, I was listening to Srila Prabhupada just about an hour ago, and he was saying, we want to find happiness by eating. We want to find happiness by friendship. We want to find happiness by beauty. We want to find happiness by knowledge. He goes down the list of the different activities of the conditioned soul, saying that our goal of all of these activities is happiness. But we don't really experience the happiness we're looking for. And if we do, it's only a small drop. And then it's also temporary. It leaves us as fast as it comes. So that happiness that we're looking for is Brahma Sokyam. Nayam Deham Deho Bhajan Nirloke Kastan Kama Arhati Vidbuja Jay Tapo Divyam Putrakadyena Sadvam Brahma Sokam Twanantam. What is it? I forgot the last line, but that's the essence. Brahma Sokyam is that happiness which is anantam, eternal or unlimited, never ceasing. And what do you have to do to get that is, what is that? Nayam Deho Deho Bhajani Loke Kastan Karmahati. Tapo Divyam Putrakadyena Sadvam. Tapo means austerity. Divyam means transcendental. Putrakadyena Sadvam. That's austerity which will awaken that Brahma Sokyam, or which is transcendental happiness. So one must accept some difficulty. One may want to enjoy in a certain way, but one has to give that idea up for a higher principle. The principle of Shreyas and Prayas. Prayas means immediate satisfaction, and Shreyas means ultimate long-term benefit. We have to live in the mood of Shreyas. What is our ultimate benefit? And that is our relationship with Krishna in loving devotional service. That's who we are by nature. And to achieve that position again is the goal of the conditioned souls. In other words, it's the goal of human life. So, therefore, one has to perform some difficulties. One has to deny the material senses from sense gratification and redirect those senses in the service of the Lord. Give up the material aspect of life and accept the spiritual aspect in the form of serving the Lord in different ways. We like to sing and dance in kirtan for Krishna. We like to eat transcendental food that is offered to the Lord, which is non-different than the Lord. It's called prasad. Prasad means the Lord's mercy. It's something we accept as in gratitude from the Lord, who is giving his mercy in the form of nice foodstuffs. So that mercy is very easily acceptable. But there's different things we have to stop. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, and no wasting time in frivolous activities which have no meaning towards our spiritual development. We might like to do this, we might like to do that, but accepting some, when we say restriction, and diverting our attention towards the activities of devotional service, we actually move forward towards the goal of life. And gradually, it's not like many spiritual practitioners perform or offer different types of spiritual systems of development. Those systems are based on perfection in activity. But in devotional service, happiness is a gradual increase. As we continue in devotional service, our happiness increases more and more and more, and becomes, at one point, becomes fixed within our consciousness, where the devotee is susukha, kartamavyayam, always happy, because they are connected to Krishna in devotional service. Well, this is the process. And again, to reclaim the conditioned souls, Brahmaji did this work on behalf of the Lord. He accepted the austerity of giving up everything else and took to a very difficult task of, again, recreating the bodies of the living entities so they could, again, have the opportunity to purify themselves by re-entering the material energy and freeing themselves from material attachments, and ultimately achieving self-realization or God realization, Krishna consciousness. Well, this is the process. So austerity has to be there. That means some difficulty. I want to do this, but no, it's not going to help me in my spiritual life. Let me say no and accept the activities that will bring me closer to Krishna, by accepting the instructions of the spiritual master as one's meditation in devotional service. Okay, so we can stop here and open it up for discussion.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for explaining the recreation process so nicely, and also helping us understand how we should divert our senses from sense gratification to self-realization. Thank you. And apologies, I had some freeze from a network, that's why I couldn't move the screen. So devotees, if you have any comments, questions, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. If you can't speak, then type it in the chat and I'll read it for you. And it will be nice to have a darshan, so if you can keep your cameras on, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Satyabhama, you look so blissful.
It's because I'm in your association, Maharaj.
I think maybe you're an association of so many wonderful devotees.
Thank you. Abhishek Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my devotees and Krishna is very much. Now, I want to know about the Mahat Tattvas. Means there is some doubt regarding that. I want to know clearly what are the Mahat Tattvas.
What is that word? It was a little
Mahatattva. Mahatattva.
Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva.
Mahatattva. Yeah. You want to know what the Mahatattva is? Okay. And so
I partially know. Yes,
in the when during the previous interim between the creation of the devastation and the next creation, there is the Mahatattva created, and it's an egg-like form. Inside the Mahatattva is the material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. It's all there in a aggregate state. Aggregate means it's not separated in its individual units. They're all merged in one. It's like an egg-like manifestation. That's the Mahatattva. So when the Lord glances, well, that's actually called pradhan. I'm sorry. That's called pradhan. Pradhan, which means, as I described. And then when the Lord glances onto that pradhan, it comes in, and now it becomes the Mahatattva. And the energy in there starts to separate by the power of the Lord's glance. And in the Lord's glance, there is the living entities from the previous manifestation. There is the time factor, which is the principle of material existence. And there is Lord Shiva. Those three factors are in the glance of Mahavishnu. When he glances at the Pradhan, it becomes the Mahatattva, and then Brahma, after being enlightened by Krishna, enters into it and starts formulating the bodies of the living entities according to their last situation in the previous manifestation of creation. That's all described in both in Brahma Samhita and also in different places in the second canto, which we are now involved in. Previous chapters, we talked about Mahatattva. And also in, I think there's also other places within the scripture where it's also indicated. Talks about the creation. Okay? So don't go back into the Mahatattvas. Go back to Godhead right now in this life. And you won't have to enter into that state of yoga nidra, sleeping for billions of years without any activity, waiting for the next creation to manifest. That's if you are still in a material world when Brahma's day or Brahma's life comes to an end. And that's after Brahma right now is 51 years old. His life is his life is 311 trillion, 40 billion years. And that's the lifetime of Brahma. So right now he's halfway through that. So divide that in half and a little bit less than half. And after that period is over, then all of this will wind up and there will be no more material existence for billions of years until it comes again, according to the cycles of material energy. This is very technical, very scientific, very interesting at the same time. People like to study science, study the science of Krishna consciousness, studying the science of creation. Do a study of Brahma Samhita and also the statements given in different places. It's also mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the Acharyas have also written books about this, the creation. Because if you know Krishna as the force behind everything, then when you hear of his pastimes in Vrindavan, you don't get bewildered. That same person who is the sweet cowherd boy in Vrindavan, who plays with his girlfriends, herds cows, and jokes with his friends, is the same person that's the all-powerful supreme source of all existence. That people can't seem to amalgamate how that same Krishna in Vrindavan is actually God. Unless they study and hear from the Acharyas about the creation, which are there in the second canto, parts of the third canto, and other scriptures. When we get to if we read the 10th canto, we will think Krishna is just some fictitious person that was created, Krishna in Vrindavan. But if you know the tattva, then that will lead you to the Leela. Will help you to understand Leela. You can't understand Leela unless you are well versed in tattva. So that's why we have so many books on this science for us to read and understand. We like to read things that are interesting. I mean, this is the most interesting stuff you could read.
Thank you so much, Narad. Now, one more follow-up question is, how many elements are there in There are 24 elements that are
Satyabama, you have to repeat his question. I can't
Yeah, I
understand.
couldn't understand as well. Prabhu, if you can repeat, please. How
Uh,
many
now was it
elements
clear?
of what? How many elements?
Mataji.
How many elements are there in Mahatattva? Means
How many elements are
animal.
there in Mahatattva?
Well, the process of Sankhya Yoga gives the whole thing. There are 24 elements. The 11 senses, including the mind, the sense objects, that's all explained in the third canto, Sankhya Yoga, 25 elements. Sankhya means count. And therefore, Sankhya Yoga means to understand that beyond these 25 elements, there is nothing else that makes up this material energy. And the 25th element is the super soul, who accompanies the living entity in the material world. That's why he's also included in as the element of the material energy. Although he's not part of the material energy, he's included in the makeup of the material energy because the super soul agrees to accept the position of guiding the living entities in the material world in each and every body they inhabit. Yeah. So read the books. They're there. Don't just put them on your shelf and look at them. Read them. We don't read. That's why we ask so many questions. It's good to get clarification on points, but our clarification should be based on our reading, not based on just asking questions. We should be reading, and then we get questions based on the reading, and then we ask questions to give us further information on the knowledge that we read. Then you ask good questions, or those questions that are relevant, important. If it's based on our reading and our hearing. Okay.
Thanks, Maharaj. I hope that answers your question, Abhishek Prabhu. Balram Nitai Prabhu, I think you had your hands up. Do you want to ask a question?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Nityananda. The last part of your initial lecture, I sort of want to circle back to, and the sort of entrancement by the material energy. It seems to me a lot of the discussion around that bewilderment is about things that we enjoy or would like to enjoy, material sense gratification.
Right.
Coming out of my old life, I had many awful entanglements. And listening, especially this morning, it occurs to me to ask, coming out of that world, I made several enemies. There's no other way to put it. People who despise me or feel victim, or have imagined something I did to them, or what have you. And recently, defying a court order to not contact me, my former artistic partner contacted me through a hidden phone number just to try to hurt my feelings and insult me. No other reason at all to contact me at all. And I must confess, I responded with wrath.
Prabhu, what is your question? What is your question? Like,
There is
you
one,
have a question?
my question is, how does one in a fit of wrath at a person who's trying to hurt you, how do I remember Krishna? How do I get out of that material entanglement? I'm not so interested in gambling and this and such. My struggle is with anger. How do I do it?
And so that's what the problem is, you, not this other person. How to deal with this thing of anger that dents your false ego. So you have to realize it's all due to your false ego. So now, equipped with the false ego, you have to somehow or other understand that whatever people say ultimately can't harm you in any way. But because we are attached to certain ideas and ways of thinking, when someone bridges that gap or somehow or other says something we don't like, immediately the anger starts to rise. So, as a Vaishnav, you have to learn to control that. Otherwise, that anger will block your path of devotional service. So, people will find fault. As there's one story when one great spiritualist, he was walking along and someone had some issue with him. So they came up and in a very emotional way started to chastise him with strong words. He didn't do anything. He simply sat there, listened, and then after some time the person got tired and went away. So someone on the side who was observing it said, how is that? You know, he was really, really nasty to you, but you didn't do anything. You acted very calm and peaceful. And he said, if somebody wants to give you something and you don't take it, they have to keep it. So what this person wanted to do to you, you took it. But if you didn't take it, it wouldn't bother you, but you accepted it. Because there's some attachment there. Like that. So we have to learn to somehow transcend all of these negative emotions by keeping our consciousness connected with higher understanding. Anger is diminished, or you might say reduced, by forgiveness. Or you might say, well, the person, like sometimes you say, that person is just ignorant. And they're venting their ignorance at me. So you just write it off. That's all. You're from America, right? Grown up in America.
Detroit
Okay.
area.
So there's a little little jingle that I'm sure you're familiar with because I grew up in America too. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So what people say, if you accept it, then there's an emotional reaction. Don't accept it. That's all. Or if you want to somehow or other ameliorate the situation and you think it is viable to go that way, then you try to discuss it in a calm way. Sometimes when people attack you, if you don't respond in the same way they attack you, but speak very intelligently and question their motivations and their reasons, sometimes they start discussing it with you. And you may find some solution in the discussion. So there's different ways to accept it or not accept it. But so you can do the reset motion every time that happens. You know what the reset motion is?
No, Guru Maharaj, please.
Okay. Well, everybody can do this together. We'll try it together. Okay, now inhale with a 4-second count. Now take a breath, inhale, and in 4 seconds, inhale. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now for 7 seconds, keep that air in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale on an 8 count. Now gradually let the air out, and it should be done on the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that resets your nervous system. Anybody experience anything?
Thank you, Mara. This is very helpful. I'm going to try it again.
Yes.
What do you
4,
think?
7, and 8, isn't it? 4, 7, and 8.
Yeah, 4 in, 7 holds, 8 out.
Nice. In my deep, just as a follow-up, that's good, great advice, Guru Maharaj.
That's
Um,
practical.
Practical, yes. And I think, I certainly have, as my Krishna consciousness develops, I'm certainly less angry, less prone to anger. I'm much more blissful and calm. But it was surprising and very upsetting. And so
Yeah.
I just,
Unexpected.
yes, and was a person that I loved, and so yeah, I mean, it was the perfect storm for me emotionally, and I was bewildered. So yes, I will. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, I'll definitely keep that in mind and try to rely on that.
Yeah, yeah, because there's danger in not controlling that, because it could lead to something more than just words. And then you
Yes.
find yourself in great difficulty. There's people in the fit of anger, and they kill somebody, and then after a while they regret it because anger just overcomes them.
Thanks, Balwanitai Prabhu. Vrishabh
Thank you,
Prabhu.
thank you.
Hare Krishna. To go there, the Vaishnavas, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, one grateful comment and one question, if I may. First, about grateful comments, you said that happiness in Krishna consciousness is building gradually. I find it very revealing and inspiring to actually, push more and more in my Krishna consciousness. Because especially if this happiness inside of our hearts increase more and more, it's kind of it's a good investment to intensify.
Happiness brings you to the point of gratefulness. Gratefulness brings you to the point of wanting to reciprocate. And reciprocate manifests in wanting to serve more, wanting to serve better.
Oh, I have to write this one down. And question: in this verse, it is speaking how the Lord. What exactly? The Lord is transcendental. It's the object of transcendental pleasure for the senses of the devotees. So my question is: when the conditioned soul are afflicted with severe jaundice case, seeing a sweet form and hearing the sweet pastimes of the Lord might not be so palatable. When we hear how devotees are very attracted with the Lord, one can think that this may not be applied for him, and he can be discouraged. My understanding is that in this situation, we need to intensify our devotional service to purify our senses so we can come to that level. Is it so much? Maharaj.
Each soul has the same quality of loving devotion to Krishna, manifested in different expressions of that devotion or that love. But no one is limited because of material. People are thinking in a material way when you limit yourself, that's all.
So
Spiritually,
if we feel like we are not,
spiritually, it's unlimited.
sorry.
Spiritually, happiness is unlimited.
So if we do not feel if you don't find the Lord attractive, that means that we just need to intensify our devotional service, that we can come to that level again.
For the non-devotees, they're covered by layers of material energy. So their attraction is buried deep amongst all of these coverings. For devotee, he's still covered, but that covering is thin. A little scratching of the surface can push away the veil of covering, and the devotee will experience that happiness.
When you say devotee, is that a liberated stage or not necessarily?
To experience happiness in Krishna consciousness doesn't mean you're on the perfectional stage. That stage is called ruchi, which is the preliminary stage of raganuga bhakti, or spontaneous attraction to Krishna. That is constant experience. Brahmabhuta prasannatmana sochati nakankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti lavate pranam. Brahmabhuta prasannatma, the soul is joyful. Brahmabhuta means they're above the material energy. They're experiencing the happiness of devotional service or the association of Krishna through the process of devotional service. But that's the sixth stage in a series of 9 stages.
I found it really interesting.
There's Ashakti, then there's Bhava, and then there's Prema. These are higher stages of experiencing transcendental loving happiness and devotional service. But we have to be consistent in our devotional service. What makes it difficult is devotees are in and out of devotional service. You have to be consistent. That's why Krishna says, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you perform, should be done as a sacrifice to me. Stay connected to the process of devotional service in all aspects. And even if you can't understand how to use everything in the service of the Lord, you can chant the holy name anytime, anywhere.
That's why you're giving us nice services so we can always be engaged nicely. Thank you, Maharaj, for that.
Well, that's one reason. Otherwise, your mind will take over. The mind will tell you all kinds of things.
I need to go around and around. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vishya Prabhu. I'm sorry, Maharaj, I have to leave, but Sukava will take over now. Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Where you going? You coming to Ujjain? Come on, you can take a flight and land with Sridevi's coming to Indore tomorrow. So you can join
I
Sridevi.
wish. I'll be there with my, mind, my heart. I will be there for sure.
Okay.
That would be simply wonderful.
I know.
Yeah.
Satya Baba comes home to Ujjain, which is her hometown.
One day Lord will allow me. Hopefully, yeah, it
No,
will happen.
her home time is Indore. Her husband is
Oh.
from
Yes.
but Indore is only 1 hour drive from.
Yeah, it's very close. I hope you're purifying Indore as well, Guru Maharaj, by association. Anywhere in Indore, I hope you're going there as well. Please, please, Guru.
Okay, thank you for your smile demeanor,
Thank you.
giving some
Association.
brightness to our discussion here.
You're the reason I smile, Guru Maharaj.
Only reason.
That's the only reason. True. Very true. Please
Please
go ahead
accept
with
my
the question.
humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, as you were talking to Balavan Nitai, I was just thinking, wow, there is so much inside of us that needs to just, get purified. And I was thinking, to qualify for the spiritual world, we should be completely purified of lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, envy, all these nasty things. We can't go with these things to the spiritual world. So, what if at the time of death we are not fully purified, but still we have a very strong desire to go back? Then what happens?
Remember Krishna. And then it's up to Krishna from that point on. The life is a preparation for death. This life is meant to prepare us for leaving the body so we no longer have to take another body again. So if we prepare now at the time of death, these things will leave us. So do the work now. And when time
Right.
comes, you'll be ready to move to the eternal abode. But if you don't do the work now, and then the time of death comes, then you may not be able to think of Krishna, or you'll still be looking towards the material energy because you may find some attachment is still there. You look towards your friend or your daughter or your money or your house or your body, some attachment is still there. We want to make sure that when death comes, there's no more attachment.
Oh, yes, Guru Maharaj. Definitely. Work has to be done now. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
and get attached to Krishna and get attached to serving Krishna. And then these things
Thank
will
you so
disappear.
much.
Because they're shadows. They're not real realities. All of these negative qualities are just shadows covering the soul, but they're not actually real. As a shadow is not real, but appears to be real. Similarly, these coverings are like shadows. The soul is pure. The cloud cannot cover the sun, but the cloud appears to cover the sun. These negative qualities appear to cover the soul, but they don't cover the soul. They're simply connected to the bodily concept of life. That's all. So remove those coverings with the power of devotion.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. My obeisances.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any other devotees? Any comments or questions? Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances of Lord Sri Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Ho, Glory to Prabhupada. Should we stop here?
There isn't any question or comments on the chat as well, so
Okay.
can Guru Maharaj.
Should I choose somebody to ask a question? I can do that. Okay, get
Yeah.
ready. All right. Okay, Revati, ask a question.
Oh, yeah. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to assembled devotees. So actually, there was some question going on in my mind. So I just want to ask that. As you mentioned, like we cannot understand Leelas unless we know the Tattva. So right now, we think when we listen the Leelas, we think we are understanding Leelas. But until we come to that purification, we are not really understanding it completely. Is that true, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, because Krishna's leelas appeared to be like activities of the ordinary living entities in the material world. But the difference between material and spiritual is the difference between iron and gold. Both are metals, but one is very valuable and the other one is very easily available. So we'll mistaken Krishna's activities as the activities of someone in this material world. Or we'll see similarities in it and we'll think in the terms of the mundane. But you have to understand there's an element that you can't see, and that is Krishna is Atmarama, he's self-contained. He needs nothing outside himself, but still he acts for the benefit of others. So in his Leelas, although he's taking pleasure in the Leelas, his main thing is to give pleasure to others. But it looks like the gopis want to use Krishna for their objects of pleasure, and it looks like Krishna wants to use the gopis for his object of pleasure. But that's what it looks like. It's not like that. Both are trying to please the other by doing things that will attract the other.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, yeah.
It's pure love. Pure love has no personal motivation in it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, as you always say, purity is a force, driving force. So I think
Purity is the essence of reality. Impurity means material.
Yes,
This world is a place of impurity.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, yeah.
We have a material body and we're acting in a material way. These are all impurities that cover the soul.
Yeah, and also when we listen classes, we see like speakers, like some speakers, they are more like into Leelas, like His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhuji, his class is more like a Leelas.
But he speaks about the tattva also. He does speak about the tattva. When he speaks leelas, he's very deep in tattva. If you listen to his lectures, he has a very good working understanding of Shastra. Very, very deep, very clear. But he also injects Leela in there to enhance the tattva. Or to bring the tattva to a higher stage.
Yeah.
On the highest stage, there's no tattva, there's only Leela. But you have to go through tattva to get to that stage of Leela.
Yeah. So as a sadhakas, we should just continue to aspire to
Yes. Chant the holy name, hear Krishna's pastimes, serve the Vaishnavas, take Krishna Prasadam, and enjoy. Krishna consciousness is not something that you enjoy when you die. It's now.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, yeah, we are doing that in Charlotte. It's like very busy with all the programs and
Yeah.
So
When everybody's working together to serve Krishna and to serve each other, it's the spiritual world. We have it, Sukavaga has her programs at her house. She invites all these kirtaniers. She cooks all kinds of nice things and everybody has fun. And so eating is nice, singing, dancing, exchanging with other devotees, talking about Krishna, becoming friends with others, even sharing your personal struggles with each other is a very pleasant way to exchange relationships in this amongst devotees.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's why sadhu sangha is the key to everything. Is when we're together, we're happy. When we're by ourselves, we're not as happy, unless you are on the platform of pure devotion.
Thank you so much for giving this beautiful family. We can definitely see gradually how, like, we are
That's Prabhupada's creation. He did it. He
Yes.
said, yeah, I created this Krishna conscious society in order for devotees to exchange loving exchanges between devotees. Well, he said that's the purpose of building these temples, to facilitate the 6 loving exchanges between Vaishnavas. And that's mentioned in Nectar of Instructions, verse number 4. You read that verse. Prabhupada said, this is the reason why we created temples, to bring devotees together so they can exchange loving relationships with each other. And as we exchange loving relationships with each other in the context of devotional service, then it becomes like a family, and then Krishna is there, and everyone is feeling happy, and everyone is enthusiastic to serve. You'll see in an environment of devotees, when devotees are happy, what do they want to do? They just want to serve. Just let me serve. I don't care. I want to serve. That's all. The non-devotees, they want to be served, and they think that's happiness. Devotees, the more happier they feel, the more they want to serve. Yeah? That makes sense.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
It's just natural. When we're with friends and people who are dear to us, we want to do things for them. We want to make them happy. And it's just, even in the material world, there's that element. But in the spiritual world, it's the essence.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
There's so much happiness in association with devotees that you can't stop smiling. Your face gets frozen in this smile. Every time you see a devotee, anytime you exchange with another devotee, anytime you do something with another devotee, there's some pleasure, there's happiness, there's this pleasure.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask one thing, Guru Maharaj. When we do like a devotional activities, when we have programs and all that, sometimes like we have so many programs and all that, we don't get time to read and all that. So we also like a little bit.
That's a problem. You're having too much joyful experience, no time to read the books. You're actually living the books at that point. You're actually coming to the point of understanding what the books are telling you.
Application. Yes. Okay, Gosh. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Well,
Thank you, Mataji. Rishabh Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Maharaj, regarding this tattva before rasa, In the previous verse, we were speaking how if we really want to know Krishna as he is, which is actually tattva, this is actually causeless mercy of Krishna when we get purified enough, as it was mentioned in the previous verse. But then again, when, as you said, Maharaj, that the gopis and Krishna, they just want to serve each other and please each other. They don't want to please their senses. And then when you, with that thought, you actually listen to the Leela, it is different perception of it. So it sounds like you don't have to be fully purified to understand the tattvas. So how to understand this?
They work simultaneously. Prabhupada talked a lot about Leelas when he first started. He was even speaking about pastimes of Lord Chaitanya coming out of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we get both at the same time. But to go into the understanding of the mood of the Leelas, you have to have some philosophical understanding of the relationship of the soul's relationship in different forms of in relationships, different types of relationships. That's Leela. Why Krishna does what he does, why Krishna says what he says, why Krishna acts in a certain way. How Krishna enjoys and how Krishna inspires everyone to take part in enjoyment. These are all elements of the Leela. But they also are indicated in Tattva also. A big part of Krishna consciousness is learning about Krishna. Why Krishna does what he does, why he dresses the way he dresses, what is the purpose of his playing the flute. You find out, investigate the life of Krishna. You take an personal interest in finding out about Krishna. There's people who do that in the material world. They find some idol in the material world and they want to know everything about that person. So do that. Find everything else as much as you can out about Krishna. And it's interesting. It's not like any other
Isn't
person.
Isn't that contradictory, Maharaj, to the previous verse saying we should speculate about Krishna, but we should actually, by purification, Krishna reveals himself to us. So we shouldn't use our kind of material brain to figure out Krishna in this sense.
You don't have to use your material
Can
brain.
you
All you have to do is read the Shastras. It's all explained there. What's the question of material?
Okay, this is the problem.
If you want to find out about Krishna, you have to go where the information is available, from the acharyas to the books.
Mm-hmm. And this is the difference between speculation. You're just reading and repeating the charyas. This counteracts the speculation of trying to understand yourself. Okay, yes, okay. This is the difference. Sorry. Thank you.
It eliminates the speculation. It gives you the answers.
Mm. Thank you, brother.
Process is simple. Don't complicate it. Sri Devi.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
You had raised your hand, Mataji, so that's why Guru Maharaj is asking. Mataji.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to remember what I wanted to make a comment. It wasn't so much a question, but I forgot what I wanted to say.
All right.
My cousin is great.
Anyone else before we conclude?
Guru Maharaj, may I ask one question, please?
You're in charge.
Thank you. In regards to the first question, Rishabha Prabhu asked about the devotional service, and you were explaining about the devotional service. In that, you mentioned that everything we should be connecting to Krishna, and if we can't, then chant. So while we are actually performing devotional service, it is very easy to remember Krishna. That is not a problem. While we are in association of devotees, it is easy to remember Krishna. But when other activities we do, like work and stuff, that time we forget, not forget, but don't remember Krishna that much. So is that what you're implying on, that we should be remembering that time Krishna as well, so that continue chanting in our mind? Is that what we
Well,
should?
the process of bhakti culminates in four principles. And when the four principles are being followed, then bhakti is complete. And one of them is, Krishna says, always remember me. Somehow or other, yena kena pakarena manu Krishna nivesaya. Somehow or other, remember Krishna, whatever it takes.
Okay.
But the easiest and recommended way to remember Krishna is to chant his name.
Mm.
We can remember him in other ways, but those are also the same as any. They're all absolute. But the easiest way is you're always with your mind. Your mind is always with you. So just put your mind into the holy name, and there you are. Hare Krishna.
That is easy, actually. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sridevi Mataji, I think you remember now, isn't it?
Yeah, I remembered as Guru Maharaj was explaining that Srila
You went on mute, Sridevi.
Yes, sorry about that. I was remembering Guru Maharaj as he was speaking about Srila Prabhupada starting this International Society for Krishna Consciousness for the 6 loving exchanges. I was remembering what Prabhupada said, and that's just what I wanted to offer. That Srila Prabhupada said, our society is like one big family where there is love and trust.
Yeah, those
And
things.
to me, that is just so beautiful.
Love manifests first when trust develops. First is trust. No duplicity. No hypocrisy. No envy. Sukava, turn to that verse in Nectar of Instructions, verse number 4.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
Nice to hear from Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, I'm going to move to that verse now.
NOI.
Sorry.
The fourth one on the, no, up the page, go up. There it is. The fourth one from the left. There you go. Okay, you can go to verse 4. Okay, so there you go. The dati pratigranati guya makyati prichtiti bhunte bojite chaiva sadvidam pratilakshanam. Translation: offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. The Prabhupada mentions also there. Let's see. He said, where does he say? And he tells you we should invite pure devotees to home, offer prasadam, please them all this respect. This is called bhunte bojite chaiva. Honoring prasadam, opening one's mind, talking about Krishna consciousness, talking about Krishna. Keep going down the page. Yeah, this society that was started single-handedly, but because people have come forward in dealing with the give and take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world. We're glad that our people are donating very liberally to the society. Yeah, so he talks about that. He talks about all of these things. And then I'm looking for that one statement where he says, keep going. It's a very long purport. Let me see. Sometimes let me see if it's there in that one.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
go.
there. The life of Krishna conscious society is right there. By
Yeah,
these
okay.
6 types of loving exchanges, and therefore people must be given a chance to associate. You just passed it, Sukava.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore,
So
people
people
must.
must be given the chance to associate with devotees of ISKCON. Is it the one, Mataji?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But Prabhupada goes on to say we've opened these temples simply to facilitate these 6 loving exchanges. That's in the purport also.
Mm.
Probably down the page if you want to go looking.
It's here, Guru Maharaj.
No, he says we've established these temples simply for that purpose.
Mm.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. I remember reading that too. I think it
Go
is
down.
below.
Yeah, I think it is.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, let's see.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Very wonderful purport, actually.
Mm.
Keep going, it's very long. I think you went too fast. We couldn't see what we.
Okay, sorry. I'll go slowly.
Yeah. Okay, so that's, yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Mm.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just curious. Prabhupada says that. I thought he said it at the beginning. Maybe he didn't.
Maybe in the front, yeah.
Yeah, go back to towards the beginning. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There was that one paragraph.
I remember, yeah, we were saying,
Yeah,
reading
you have to
right.
go. You have to go
It's
slow.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's at the beginning, the second paragraph.
Mhm.
It starts even in
Yeah,
ordinary
it says the
social
International
activities.
Society
There
has
it is.
established to facilitate these 6 loving exchanges. The International Society for Krishna has been established to facilitate these 6 kind of loving exchanges between devotees. So that's why we created this society.
Mm.
Otherwise, we can just be a bunch of individuals worshiping the Lord, but it's actually a society. Okay. Yeah, so that's what it's about, sadhu sangha. When sadhu sangha is done, Krishna appears within that sangha.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
so
Sridevi Mataji, for highlighting that. Any other last minute questions or comments, dear devotees? Last chance we are having before we close.
okay, I guess we can stop here,
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
and we'll see you tomorrow. And Sunday starts our festival here. I'll have to see the schedule
Mhm.
and see. I'm looking at the schedule right now. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, it looks like starting on the 14th, which is Sunday,
Mhm.
I'll be busy with this festival. Let's see. Yeah, so that'll go on for a few days. And check with the Srimati for arrangements for keeping the
Yep.
Sangha going.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure she must have had a plan already.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
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 Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you
Very
very
nice
much,
class.
Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna Maharaj. Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you. See you
Hare
tomorrow.
Okay.
Krishna,
Thank you so
Maharaj.
much. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Mm.
Thank you, Sukhabaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll end the meeting now. Maharaj is left. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Mataji.